actually, one of the biggest results that people are looking for from getting muscle activation techniques is a side effect. So actually, the side effects of muscle activation techniques are so powerful that it is actually the reason people seek it out.
Welcome to the Exercise is Health podcast, where we're talking about exercise, health, and the interconnectedness of the two. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we will be coming to you every single week from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Exercise is Health podcast. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and we are coming to you from our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg in Schaumburg, Illinois. Now, at Muscle Activation Schaumburg, we believe your health is your most valuable asset. Your health is one of the biggest influencers of the quality and quantity of time that you have. And while there are many aspects of health, our expertise is exercise. Exercise has been proven time and again to not only improve your health, but also increase your longevity and improve your quality of life. And today, we are talking about a topic that will not only help you exercise now, but will continue to help you exercise for the foreseeable future. And that is one of our specialties here at Muscle Activation Schaumburg, muscle activation techniques. Now, if you're new to our show, this may be the first time you've heard about muscle activation techniques, or MAT. But if you are a consistent listener of our show, then you've definitely heard us talk about MAT in the past. Well, today, we are providing a little bit different insight in regards to MAT than we have in previous episodes. And we're talking about responses to muscle activation techniques that clients tell us that we weren't expecting them to have, and discussing how powerful the muscular system is in terms of influencing how your body functions, how your body feels, and your health overall.
Actually, one of the biggest results that people are looking for from getting muscle activation techniques is a side effect. So actually, the side effects of muscle activation techniques are so powerful that it is actually the reason people seek it out. And the biggest reason people come to get MAT, hands down, is pain reduction. Don't you feel like, Charlie?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, so often people call in saying, oh, my SI joint feels weird, or my hamstring feels funny, or my feet are bothering me, or things like that. And then we have to talk about how the muscular system may be contributing to that.
Right. So, as we talk about muscles, you do have sensations in your body that we relate to muscle, like, a tight muscle, a weak feeling area, a too tight area, or whatever. But all of these lead to some sort of discomfort or pain. And many of our clients come in looking to resolve that pain or discomfort. And yeah, as Charlie said, we have to have the discussion about, how the muscle system can contribute to that. But the main goal of muscle activation techniques is to improve the quality of muscles' ability to do their job. So improve muscles' ability to contract, because contraction is their job. And this is so potent. I have yet to see a client that we don't get that part to work on them. Like, hey, we do MAT and your muscle system works better. That happens on everyone,
right,
which is great. But so often that poorly functioning muscle is either causing, contributing to the pain sensation that you're feeling. And so many people come in and then they get MAT, which is the direct goal is to get the muscles to work better. And the side effect is, I feel better. I don't have the tightness. I don't have the pain. I don't have the achiness. So we are going to talk about some other interesting side effects that people often get from muscle activation techniques. But I really wanted to address the big one first, because it's actually one of the biggest side effects. This pain reduction thing is one of the biggest reasons people come in. And again, we're not addressing pain, but the function of your muscle system is so tightly related and correlated with how your body feels. So here are some other ones, but I just wanted to address that one first. So
one of the first things that people often say when they get up off the table is, wow, I feel lighter. Like, it feels like I lost weight. And we'll have them kind of walk a lap around our office, and they'll come back and they'll go, yeah, I feel like I'm lighter. And this response, it hasn't just happened like once or twice or a handful of times. It happens all the time. It'll happen with the same client like multiple times. They'll get up off the table and be like, wow, yeah, I feel lighter. Well, why would that be? Why does it make sense that when you get your muscles working better, all of a sudden it feels like your body weighs less? All right, well, imagine this. Imagine you and friends are going to move one of your couches, okay? And each of you is going to pick up one corner of the couch. And you're going to carry it across the room, and you're going to reposition it in a new area of the room. All right? Easy, no big deal. 4 people, 1 couch, pretty simple. All right? Now imagine that your other 3 friends decide that they're just going to kind of sit back and watch you do all the work. So you have to pick up and move the couch yourself. Now that couch feels a lot heavier. In fact, before you were just holding about 25% of the weight of the couch, and now you're having to hold on to 100% of the weight of the couch. Did the couch itself get heavier? No, but the weight that you're having to hold got more. It increased, and so the couch, relatively speaking, feels heavier. All right. Well, you and your friends holding on to the couch, that's like your muscles holding on to your bones. All right. The more muscles you have working well, the more muscles you have able to contract well and help to hold on to your bones, the lighter your body is going to feel, relatively speaking, because each muscle is going to have to do less work. Now with MAT, we're not like putting muscles back into your body. We're just getting muscles that are already there working better. So with MAT, it's like getting your 3 friends that are just standing off to the side and corralling them and getting them back to holding on to the couch for you, getting them back to helping you move the couch. So now your load goes from having to hold 100% of the couch to just holding 25% of the couch. So the couch is going to feel lighter. And when your muscles get working better, because you have more muscles helping to hold your body up and move your body's going to feel relatively lighter because your muscles aren't going to have to work as hard because there's more doing the work to begin with.
Now, another odd side effect that we hear quite a bit is I feel taller after an MAT session. And again, this is a very common side effect that's really not happening, meaning people really don't get taller, although some people that come in here, they love the feeling of feeling taller, which is so great. And we wish we could help you with that. But unfortunately, that's more up to your genetics than your muscle system. But the feeling of feeling taller is that when we do muscle activation techniques, this helps your posture improve, and it helps you be able to support your structure, support your skeleton better. So oftentimes when we feel like slouchy or whatever, that can be something that is decided upon, like, I'm feeling tired, I'm just slouching in my chair, I'm lazy. Or we find a lot of people, their posture will start going down the drain because of inhibited muscles or weak muscles. So it's not really a decision. It's not like, I'm just feeling tired and lazy today, so I'm going to slouch in my chair and kind of slump around or whatever. But it's more like, this is actually how my body's solving a problem right now. I'm kind of slouched, or I'm, tucked at my hips or something like that. And it's causing them they probably don't realize that they're like slouching down and being shorter. But once the muscles start working better, we find that because of the extra support, people are just naturally standing up taller, nicer posture, they're more erect. So that's a really cool and common result of MAT. And it's also always shocking because we don't usually notice that we're starting to slouch or have poorer posture. Like maybe, but usually that's a development over time, and then they come get MAT, and then it's, within an hour, well, they're standing straighter. So that's really noticeable. So another common one is we hear people feel like they are taller due to their posture improving.
Yeah, one funny story about this is last summer I had a guy come in and he was prepping for the NBA draft, and he had his combine workout coming up. And when he went to the combine, he got measured, as they do with all the other players, and he actually measured half an inch taller than he had previously.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so he shot me a text. He goes, I know we joke all the time about like MAT making you taller. He goes, but I legitimately measured half an inch taller than I ever have.
That's
and
great.
He was coming in a couple times a week, so kind of funny. You just standing up straighter or whatever, but he objectively was taller after coming in for 5 weeks than he was before he started coming in. So kind of funny story about that. But
Sure.
Yeah, his bones weren't necessarily longer. He was just standing taller.
Just the way his muscles were holding his bones.
Exactly.
Changed.
Exactly.
So I could totally see that.
Yeah. Now, another kind of unexpected side effect that clients often describe is, it feels like I'm walking on clouds. And a lot of times this happens after we get done working through somebody's feet. Okay. Now, the feet in particular can have a tremendous impact over how somebody's body feels and functions. And in part because the feet are so often neglected, and especially the role of muscular function within the feet is often neglected. And so with MAT, there are 50 muscles from your shin bone to the tips of your toes that will help to control and position and manage all the different joints of your feet, okay? And that's, so 50 muscles on each side. That's nearly 20% of all the muscles in your entire body are from your shin bone to the tips of your toes. And how often do you go to the gym and do exercises for that 20% of your muscles? Rarely do we ever go. If anything, it's maybe doing calf raises or whatever. All right. And so with muscle activation techniques, because we are able to assess and address and improve the function of every single one of those muscles, well, when people get up off the table the first time after getting their feet worked on, all of a sudden it feels like their feet are supported in a way that they've never been supported before. And more than once, clients have said, wow, it feels like I'm walking on clouds, because instead of the bones of their feet just coming and crashing down into the ground with every step because their muscles aren't controlling them, all of a sudden when the muscles can control your joints better, when your foot hits the ground, it's a much softer landing, and it's a much softer feeling when your foot hits the ground when the muscles are working better. And so a lot of clients will describe this as like, oh, it feels like I'm walking on clouds. It feels like I'm walking on this really soft surface. And it's just because the muscles are working better. They're able to control the joints better. They're able to position your bones better. And so it's less stress on the joints. It's less stress on the bones. And it feels amazing when your feet get working well.
Coming from a guy that gets his feet worked on all the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah, Charlie is MAT Foot Function's #1 fan, actually, I think. Anyways, okay, so the last side effect that we hear all the time, and this one is not directly after, only due to its nature, but is that people are often say they are able to sleep in more positions. So if you think about, have you ever, maybe this is you or your friend saying, oh, when I sleep, I have this very strict routine, right? I have to have a pillow here, a pillow there on my side at 45 degrees, and my knees have to be slightly bent, but not too bent. And then, if my husband pushes me over, then I'm, going to be on my back. And if I'm on my back, then I have to have all these particulars, meaning that they're not flexible in the amount of positions that they can be in. And I don't mean flexible meaning like flexible mobile, but flexible in how many options that they give themselves or their body will tolerate them sleeping in. They also might be the one that, goes to a hotel and the one night on the bed that they sleep in at a hotel, is really funky for them, or, they have their particular pillow. So you know who I'm talking about, right? So oftentimes we hear responses is that as people get MAT, they're able to sleep in more positions. What this is telling us is that their body is learning to tolerate more and more positions, which is a really good thing. If you think about like kids, you'll see them sleep in their car seat, with their head all the way slouched over down. And, and then you think about, oh my gosh, if I ever slept like that, I wouldn't be able to move my neck for 3 years and whatever. And it's not that you need to sleep in a car seat with your head slouched down, but kids are always they have a lot of options in positions that they can sleep in because their bodies can tolerate a lot. Their muscle system can tolerate a lot. When our muscles are not functioning well, their tolerance for positions and their tolerance for being in a position for a length of time, which is what happens when you sleep, really goes down. As people get MAT, the positions that people can be in improves. Their ability to tolerate things for a length of time also improves. So that's another really cool side effect of MAT, where it's, hey, I can sleep in more positions. And this also really applies to when people have one specific issue where it's like, oh shoot, I can barely sleep because when I lay here, my shoulder starts throbbing again, or my leg starts hurting again. And that's something that also really, really improves being able to tolerate that laying position.
This is one question that I ask in all of the consultations I do with prospective clients. Is like, okay, what position do you sleep in? And if they give me a really specific answer, then I know, and then I'll follow it up and say, okay, is that the only position you can sleep in, or can you sleep in a bunch of other ones? And if they can only sleep in a really specific position, to me, that's an indication that there's a lot of dysfunction going on with their muscular system. Mm-hmm. Versus somebody that comes in, I don't even know how I fall asleep. I just fall asleep. Mm-hmm. And I wake up in whatever position I wake up. And, sometimes it's on my side, sometimes it's on my back. Some people like sleeping on their stomach. Whatever, I don't care. But at the end of the day, they can sleep in a whole bunch of different positions. They can fall asleep on the couch. They can fall asleep in the chair. They can fall asleep in the car. They can fall asleep on the bed. They can fall asleep, on the floor, wherever, okay? Mm-hmm. Versus somebody that comes in and they say, yeah, you know what? I need to be on my right side, 3 pillows under my head, a pillow under my knees, a pillow between my ankles, and that's it. And if it's any other position, or if I have 2 pillows under my head instead of 3, my neck gets tight, whatever, then that's an indication that, okay, yeah, there's dysfunction definitely going on with that person's muscular system. Because like you were saying, Julie, the contrast to that is, well, look at kids, and kids fall asleep in all different kinds of positions and all kinds of ways. And when you look at them and you think, oh, wow, if I fell asleep like that, I woke up, and if I woke up after sleeping in that position, I wouldn't be able to move. My shoulders would be so stiff. My back would be so stiff. My neck would be so stiff. That right there should be a flag going off in your head. Like, wow, yeah, my muscles are not working as well as they should. And maybe I should go seek out, an MAT specialist. Not saying that every single person needs to be able to sleep in every and all position. But if there's only like one position that you can sleep in, that's a pretty clear indication that something's going on with your muscular system, or at least maybe going on with your muscular system. It is time to go get yourself checked out and see if muscle activation techniques may be able to address some of those issues that are going on.
Yeah, if you even think about it, I was just thinking about, our daughter, and last night I'm looking on the monitor and she's completely on her left side, arched all the way back, her head looking to the top of the crib, and so she can sleep fully extended. And then, of course, she can sleep all balled up, fully flexed in her trunk. And it's just like, wow, she could just sleep in any position and be fine the next day. And wouldn't that be cool if we could get, an eighth of that?
Right. Well, and not only that, but I mean, how many times have you seen her and she's on her back and her arm is fully abducted, she's externally rotated, so like her arm's above her head, it's fully spun back, and her head's completely turned. And then how many times have we had clients come in and be like, yeah, I used to sleep in that position and then I got frozen shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, how come like at 5 months old, you can do that every night and not get frozen shoulder, but at 35, 40 years old, all of a sudden, that's causing frozen shoulder, if that's even causing frozen. But the idea being that, okay, the difference, or a difference between the two scenarios, is the state of the neuromuscular system. Mm-hmm. In one, there's more stresses on the neuromuscular system just kind of that have built up over time. Your body's less tolerant to that. And then what's amazing is you get our clients' muscles working better, and all of a sudden they'll come in and say, yeah, I kind of see what you're talking about now, because last night I'm falling asleep and I'm realizing I don't have my 3 pillows under my head and my 1 under my knees and my 1 between my ankles. Yeah. And your voice was saying you might find that as you rework through your body, you can start to fall asleep in more positions. Mm-hmm. And so it's funny when they tell us that.
Oh, and I woke up with my hands over my head.
Right, exactly.
Which I was told to never do, but that's how I naturally go.
Exactly.
I've noticed I sleep with my arms over my head, and I'm not a baby. Right. But I also, I could understand how if the state of my muscle system in my shoulders or my upper thoracic weren't doing well, that would be a very uncomfortable position to be in.
Yeah.
And it's not that position is bad, but if the muscles supporting that position aren't working well, then that's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah, Absolutely. So there you have it. There are 4 unexpected side effects from muscle activation techniques that we have our clients talking to us about all the time. Feeling lighter, feeling taller, feeling like they're walking on clouds, and being able to sleep in more positions than they have been able to in recent memory. So, I'm not going to say, if you want to feel taller or if you want to feel like you're walking on clouds, because, again, that's just kind of a sensation. And what we're really doing is looking at the function of your muscles, assessing to figure out where muscles are not working well and getting those muscles working better. But what I will say is if you find that you're really only able to sleep in maybe 1, maybe 2 really specific positions, and anything outside of those things, you're not able to fall asleep, that may be an indication that your muscles are not working as well as they should. And that would definitely be grounds to look up a certified muscle activation techniques practitioner in your area and connect with them. So an easy way to find a full list of all the currently certified practitioners is to go to muscleactivation.com and click on the Find a Specialist tab. And if you want a referral in your area, you see a bunch of people there, you're not sure who to go to, feel free to send us a message, info@matschaumburg.com, and we will let you know kind of who's in your area and who you should definitely go check out. But anybody on that list will be a really, really good choice for you. That's for sure. And while you're online, if you wouldn't mind, head on over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review. It helps people find this podcast who are looking for information on exercise, who are looking for information on health. It helps us show up higher in those rankings. And we really appreciate when you take a couple minutes to do that. And while you're at it, who do you know that needs to hear this episode? Who do you know that can only fall asleep in maybe 1 position? Or who do you know who feels like their body is just starting to break down over time and needs to get their muscles tuned up? Share this episode with them so they can learn about some of the cool side effects that can come from muscle activation techniques. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk with you all next week.